Spear keeps moving forward, and this time he isn't alone. Along his path, strange creatures begin to appear, twisted beings that unsettlingly resemble Cybermen. At the same time, Spear slowly starts to reclaim his humanity, as if every step takes him further away from the beast he has become and closer to who he once was. The episode opens deep within the forest. Spear has already put significant distance between himself and the desert that nearly cost him his body. Step by step, without a clear destination, but driven by sheer determination, he pushes deeper between the trees. The vegetation is dense, damp, alive, completely different from the dead landscape he left behind. And yet, his presence still feels wrong. Flies continue to swarm around him, drawn to his decaying body, reminding us that Spear is a dead man walking. The forest is alive with sound, animals rustling through leaves, branches cracking, wind forcing its way between the trees. But one sound, above all others, completely captures Spear's attention, the chirping of a small cricket. To him, the sound is new, unfamiliar, almost hypnotic. Guided by a raw, primitive curiosity, Spear begins to follow the tiny insect as it darts swiftly through the forest floor. It jumps, vanishes, reappears. Spear tracks it clumsily, mesmerized. At one point, he stops. He watches the cricket calmly feeding on a leaf. Its shape, its movements, something clicks inside Spear's damaged mind. In an inexplicable way, he associates the small insect with Fang. He has no clear memories, just a feeling. And that alone is enough to push him forward. Losing sight of the cricket is easy, too easy. Spear struggles to keep up and frequently loses track of it, yet every time the insect returns, first perched on another plant, and then unexpectedly it lands on his arm. To Spear, this means something. He reads it as a connection, a bond, just like the one he once shared with Fang, or at least what little his mind still allows him to remember. Determined not to lose it, Spear approaches an enormous leaf. Without hesitation, he rips it from the ground in a single pull, roots and all, hoping to find the cricket beneath it. When he looks down, he sees it again. Still there, unharmed. Spear stares at it with almost childlike wonder. Hop by hop, the cricket crosses a small pond, leaping across moss-covered rocks. Spear watches closely, and then, mimicking its movement, launches himself in a massive jump to the other side. From that moment on, something shifts. Spear begins to move like the cricket. He jumps the way it jumps. He travels the way it moves, almost as if he's trying not to disturb it. He watches it with admiration, with respect. But the calm doesn't last. Suddenly, a tongue shoots out at terrifying speed. An iguana snatches the cricket in a raw act of nature, instinct against instinct. Spear doesn't take it well. Rage floods him. Without thinking, he lunges at the animal and strangles it with his bare hands, determined to free the cricket. It works. The iguana opens its mouth and spits the cricket out. Spear doesn't want to hurt it, so he cups it carefully in his hands and carries it away, searching for somewhere safe. Near a river, atop a cluster of rocks, he sits down. Slowly, he opens his hands and feels relief when he sees the tiny cricket is unharmed, alive. But Spear can truly relax. He knows the forest is full of predators. Night falls and new creatures emerge from the shadows. Glowing eyes. Silent, careful movements. Spear senses their presence and lets out a powerful roar. A clear warning. A threat meant to drive them away. Since he's a dead man walking, he doesn't need to sleep, so he remains seated, completely still, as the hours drag on. The night slowly burns itself out until sunlight begins to filter through the trees, once again lighting up the forest. That's when Spear opens his hands to look at the cricket. But this time, before he can close them, the tiny insect spreads its wings and flies away. Desperation hits him instantly. Without thinking, Spear jumps to his feet and sprints through the vegetation at full speed, trying to follow its trail, refusing to lose the only thing that made him feel, even for a brief moment, that he wasn't completely alone. Deep in the forest, Spear hears that unmistakable sound again. It's coming from high above. He looks up, and there it is. The cricket, hidden among the branches, almost as if it were calling out to him. Without a second thought, Spear moves closer and starts climbing a vine hanging from the tree trunk. His movements are clumsy, heavy. With every meter he climbs, the vine creaks under his weight, and just as expected, it can't hold. The vine snaps. Spear plummets from above with brutal force. The impact is so violent that the ground can't withstand it and splits open beneath him. The earth gives way and Spear vanishes into the darkness, falling deep into what appears to be a cave. Dazed, Spear struggles to get back on his feet. There's no sign of the cricket, no visible exit. He's trapped in a pit with no way out. With no hope of seeing it again and no other choice, he moves forward, venturing deeper into the darkness in search of an escape. Then he hears something, a strange sound, unnatural. At first, he can't tell what it is until he sees it. A small, grotesque creature is gnawing on one of his legs. Effortlessly, Spear grabs it and hurls it away. The creature tries to attack again, but this time Spear doesn't hesitate. He kills it instantly. What seemed like nothing more than a minor obstacle quickly turns into something far worse. In the distance, Spear begins to hear more of those same sounds. Clicking, whispering, rapid footsteps. From the darkness, more creatures like it begin to emerge. Spear tries to fight back, but he can't stop them. The creatures swarm him one after another until everything blurs into chaos. Minutes later, Spear opens his eyes, and what he sees is horrifying. Fully flayed human bodies hang from the ceiling of the cave. Fresh blood, strips of skin and flesh scattered over exposed bones. A macabre display. Spear has been captured as well. He's bound with vines, hanging upside down, forced to witness the fate of those who came before him. All around him, the creatures feed without hurry. When Spear looks down, he sees something even worse. One of the monsters is devouring his hand. The flesh is gone. The skin too. Only bare bone remains. Everything points to this being the end. But then, a sound cuts through the darkness. The chirping of a cricket. The creature feeding on Spear pauses, startled by the noise. The others react as well. These beasts, with massive fangs and wrinkled faces where eyes should be yet somehow still able to see, stop eating and begin communicating among themselves, uneasy. The cricket's song becomes the center of their attention. One by one, the creatures lose interest in Spear, who remains bound and suspended in the air, waiting to become the next meal. Once they locate the source of the sound, the monsters rush after the insect. The cricket moves fast. It jumps, dodges, slips away from the creature's small claws, and in that moment, Spear recognizes it. It's the same cricket he's been following all this time. Seeing it in danger, Spear summons every last bit of strength he has. In a desperate effort, he begins to twist and strain against the vines holding him. He isn't thinking about himself. Only one thing matters: breaking free, to protect the cricket. With the hand now reduced to bone, Spear snaps the vine he's hanging from and crashes violently to the ground. Instantly, the creatures react, scrambling and piling over one another in a grotesque living mound, trying to climb higher and reach the cricket. Just as they're about to succeed, Spear hurls himself into them, striking, shoving, and charging without pause, driven by a single goal: to buy time and delay the insect's inevitable capture. With a strength that seems limitless, Spear manages, for moments at a time, to overpower the creatures, throwing them aside, forcing his way through. But their numbers are overwhelming, and before long, he's surrounded. Amid the chaos, one of the monsters breaks away, runs toward the flayed human bodies they had been feeding on, rips free a long bone, and charges straight at the cricket, clearly intent on killing it with a single blow. Outnumbered, wounded, and bleeding, Spear sees the cricket in danger and runs as fast as he can, slamming into the creatures blocking his path, shoving them aside, but he doesn't make it in time. With a swift, precise motion, the beast smashes the cricket against the ground, killing it instantly. The sight freezes Spear for a brief second. In his mind, the image of Fang flashes back, the same emptiness, the same sense of loss, the certainty that once again he has failed someone who mattered. That pain twists into uncontrollable rage, consuming him completely. Without fear, Spear throws himself at the creature that killed the cricket and destroys it without mercy, then turns on the rest, attacking them all, regardless of how many there are or what the consequences might be. The cave turns into a slaughterhouse as Spear strikes, rips, hurls, and tears apart everything in his path. In the middle of the fight, he spots a spear lying among the remains. He grips it tightly and begins using it to impale the underground monsters one by one, slaughtering those who captured him and those responsible for the cricket's death. No matter how many there are, they cannot withstand a spear driven by rage and loss. When the noise of battle finally fades, the monsters' bodies lie scattered throughout the cave, piled atop one another. Silence slowly returns. Spear then approaches the cricket's small body. He looks at it, crushed, lifeless, and in a solemn gesture takes a pair of stones and buries it right there, offering a symbolic farewell despite the brutality of the place. The wounds from the fight are severe, so severe that one of his organs spills onto the ground. But to Spear, this poses no danger. He simply picks it up and pushes it back into his body as if nothing had happened. He then tears a piece of cloth from one of the flayed human corpses and uses it to cover himself, preparing to continue his journey. While searching through the remains, Spear notices that one of the corpses has a dinosaur tooth hanging from its neck. The moment he sees it, he immediately associates it with Fang, as if fate itself had placed it in front of him. He takes it with him, choosing to carry it as a symbol, a constant reminder of who he's searching for and why he keeps moving forward. When he tries to leave, Spear realizes the cave is far too deep, with no way to climb its walls. So he begins stacking the creatures' bodies one on top of another, building a grotesque mound that slowly rises until it reaches the surface. Thanks to the sheer number of monsters, he finally manages to escape that place. Outside, just when everything seems over, Spear hears the sound of a cricket again. He freezes, stunned to realize it's still alive. But then he hears another, and another. In that moment, he understands there are many of them, all alike. That realization triggers a new memory. A moment where he touches Fang with his hand, a silent promise that they will always be together no matter what happens. With that thought, Spear regains his rhythm. He moves forward at a slow but steady pace, continuing his journey with a single goal in mind, reuniting with Fang, and with that, the episode comes to an end.